bookish nerds. Today's video, we're going to be discussing 5 books on my Kindle TBR that I haven't read and why, and 5 books on my physical TBR and why I haven't read them and why. I figured it would be kind of a cool little thing to do, an idea of why are some of these books that have been on my TBR since I started reading 2.5-3 years ago now. But I really, in the last 1.5-2 years, I really got into reading. But some of these have been sitting here for a while, and I either haven't got to them because they're newer, they're genres that I don't typically dip into, just things that intimidate me. And then we will give a yes, no, maybe will I read these in the future kind of thing, and we'll go from there. So I think it's best to start with the Kindle options. I have 5 books, and all of them are pretty interesting and very far-fetched and very different of what each book is. The first book that we're going to discuss is Serpent in the Wings of Night by Chris Broadbent. That is a book. It's vampires, Hunger Games-esque, and it's thick. Like it's over 500 pages. And I've realized in the later of my adult, I'm not a big vampire girly. I'm more of a werewolf girly. I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood earlier this year, and I enjoyed it more because of Lo being a werewolf than because of Misery being a vampire. I enjoyed the vampire-werewolf dynamic, but that's where I'm at. I've heard nothing but great things about Serpents in the Wings of Night. I have a physical copy of it because I figured, sometimes I prefer to read physically than on my Kindle and vice versa, but it is available on Kindle Unlimited, and I do intend to read it. It's actually on my Aurelium TBR, so hopefully I can get to it this month, but it's a thick book, and I haven't... September's been a weird reading month for me. The second Kindle book is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. Necromancers in space lesbian necromancers in space. Am I intrigued? Absolutely. Is it one of those books that I am not certain, can I read it via audio? Can I read it physically? Like, what is going to be the best experience for me to read that book? So I have it. It is also currently on Kindle Unlimited. It is, everything that I've heard about this says that this book is right up my alley. It's something I'm going to enjoy. I love space. Necromancers are awesome, especially as a D&D girly. I just haven't picked it up because I'm super intimidated by it. But yes, I have the Kindle edition from Kindle Unlimited and the audiobook. I think it's going to be one of those that I need to immersion read in order to get the best experience out of it. I do have one romance. It was actually recommended by my friend Bridget. It's The Roommate by Rosie Dannon. It is... Bridget recommended this to me whenever we first became friends, so like 3-4 years ago at this point, and it's just been sitting on my Kindle or in my Kindle app, and I just haven't touched it. It's and then they were roommates, they were roommates. So of course I'm going to enjoy it. It's just a matter of I've been picking up different romance books, and it's so far down in the list of Kindle books that I have that I keep forgetting that I even own it. So now that I've realized going through this list, hey, this is what you have. Maybe you should read this. It's getting pushed up on the TBR, but there's so many other things that are currently in the process of being read. It's fall, and it doesn't feel like a fall read. It feels more like a spring or summer read. So yes, I intend to read it. Probably not until later. Probably until next year. The last 2 books that are on my Kindle are by the same author. And it is not because I don't love the author, because I read a previous book by this author earlier this year. The authors are Kwong. We have Babel, or however you say it. It is a dark academia, something about words and translations and looking at it in It's set in England, at Oxford, but it's a heavier book. There's a lot of themes that I honestly am worried that I'm too stupid to understand what is actually going on in this book. I'm so intrigued by it. It's just very intimidating. So I got it on my Kindle, on a Kindle deal day, and I haven't sat down and read it yet because it's one of those, I'm scared to read you, but I'm absolutely going to read you. The other book is her, The Poppy War. The Poppy War was on Kindle Unlimited. Not sure if it is still or not, but I still have it from Kindle Unlimited because I desperately want to read that series. Again, R.F. Kuang, her writing is so amazing. I read Yellowface earlier this year through audio, and it was a fantastic audiobook. It's just a matter of some of her other writing makes me worried that I'm too dumb in my adult years to read this book and understand it in the level that I know that I could have when I was taking AP English classes and in college where I was studying English. So I'm intimidated. I am thrilled to read them. Yes, they will both be read. It's just a matter of when I stop talking negatively about myself and wondering, can I actually read this and understand what's actually happening? So those are the Kindle books. If you've read any of them, I recommend those. Let me know in the comments. Give me some inspiration or a buddy read. That'd be great because I'm just scared. The physical books that are here in front of me are just as scary. This first one, you can't judge me because this was one of the first books that I bought whenever I got back into reading a couple of years ago. Since hearing all of the different things about this author, I don't know why I still have this book. I've only read one book by her. The book in question is November 9th by Colleen Hoover. I've heard this book is incredibly problematic. No, I do not actually intend to read this. I'm honestly thinking about just putting it up on a Pango store or just donating it to the local Goodwill at this point. I don't know why I've kept it for 3 years. I know initially the reason I didn't read this is because I wanted to read it on November 9th, and then whenever it came to November 9th, I didn't touch it, and then I just let it sit. Most of my books are in a hope chest, or we've moved in the last 2 years, so they're in a hope chest now, and I don't see it, so therefore I don't think it, because ADHD is a thing, and I have object permanence, so if I don't see it, which is why these are the trophy shelves, I have books all over, I have a bookshelf downstairs and a TBR cart so that I can actually see the books that I want to read, which is why I got the TBR cart, because then I can put my priority reads there and I can just see it and decide what it's there. But this is a no. Everything else has been a yes so far, but this is the no. This next book, my brother-in-law keeps telling me I need to read it. This is Brandon Sanderson's The Final Empire, aka Mistborn Book 1. As you can see, there's a lovely bookmark here. I'm about 200 pages into this book. I have been doing immersion reading whenever I do read it. The problem with this book is it is outside of my typical genre. I do not typically read high fantasy, and it makes me feel kind of dumb. Now, is it fantastic? When I sit down and I read it and I'm listening to it and I'm on my Kindle or on the physical book, am I following along and understanding what is going on? Yes. Do I still feel stupid sometimes because I go through where most books I can sit down and I can read in a 24-hour time period? This one I started in March. I have not touched it since about May. Summer romances, etc., but I'm trying. I'm desperately trying to read Brandon Sanderson. I have been trying to figure out where the best entry port for me to read his stuff goes, because I've heard Tress of the Emerald Sea is great, or Skyward, which I did start some of Skyward, which is space, and I've loved what I've read of it so far. But this one is a maybe. It's one of those that I'm desperately trying, but maybe I'll pick it up soon, maybe I won't. I intend to finish this book. I also have a really cute mermaid bookmark. Look at it. It's cute. But we're on chapter 11, and we're still getting into heist stuff. Like, it's a heist. I love heists. Six of Crows is one of my favorite books of all times. So this seems like it's going to be a great read for me. It's just, if I set it down, I don't pick it up for weeks or months. But once I sit down and read it, I can read 200 pages, no problem. It's going to take me a couple hours, but that's the lot that we're in. Third book is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I have heard nothing but good things about this. This is a dark academia book. It is about Effie Sayre and a architect that is trying to rebuild her favorite author's house. So it does have a sequel coming out next year. I'm very excited. This has been sitting on my TBR shelf since it came out, which is why it is in hardback, and I'm not a big hardback girly. But this feels like a fall book, so it is on my fall TBR, and yes, I intend to read it this month. Please don't mind the train. I'm sorry. It's apparently train time. It's my day off, and we're filming. Now the next two books are intimidating as all get out, and it's not just because they're thick books. One is because it is incredibly thick. It intimidates me. But it's also a classic and Russian. And if you don't get that with that hint, let me introduce you to Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. So this is going to show my age. As we can see, I have attempted to read this. The print is tiny, and it is 800, 900 pages long. And I love the edition. The edition's beautiful. I'm not a big fan of the beveled edges. This book is over 15 years old. I bought this as a senior in high school, to the point where this had a Borders sticker on it stating I got it at Borders, and Borders closed many years ago. So if that tells you how long, this is one of those books that is on my TBR that I'm going to read in this lifetime. I have tried watching the movie to read the book to incentivize myself, but it's one of those, like, I tried the movie, but then I wanted to read the book, and then so the goal for next year is to read this damn book. I'm going to read it. It's going to be like certain page number per month to get me through this, because I have been trying for over 15 years to read this book, but it's classic Russian literature. What am I supposed to do with this? So yes, hopefully next year. It was on my 24 and 24, and it's just not going to get read 3 months, 4 months, whatever's left of the rest of the year. So 900 pages is calling my name next year. And then the last book is another one where it's, 700 pages? 800 pages? The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This bitch is thick. I've heard absolutely nothing but good things about this book, and I am very intrigued by the world. It has dragons. It is, again, high fantasy with dragons, where if you take a look at the shelf behind you, most of this is YA fantasy or fiction or things like that. I desperately want to be an adult fantasy girly, and I just can't seem to make it work for my brain. So it's one of those, like, I'm desperately trying. Bridget and I are planning to buddy read this. This was also on my 24 and 24, and it's probably not going to happen, so it might get moved to 25 and 25. So I'm okay with that, but this is the 5 books that I have on my physical TBR, with a yes, no, or maybe only one no, really. Just the one. The rest of them are yeses. I have no idea when. But if you've read any of these, or if any of them are more worth my time to move forward, let me know. 10 books doesn't seem like a lot, but it feels like a lot when you have a never-ending TBR. But yeah, if you have other books that I should be checking out, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye, bookish nerds.